Right, now for what is arguably the most important part of this whole lesson. We saw this earlier when we were multiplying fractions together. Okay, I told you that in the GMAT you want to, as much as possible, save time and avoid multiplying things together, but looking for simplifications. So that is actually true in other operations as well. As soon as it involves fractions, we want to look to do this. And actually what you'll find is in the GMAT, even in questions that are not technically fraction questions, often in the calculations, you'll see fractions popping up all over the place. Okay, why? Because whenever you multiply and divide things, you can write that as a fraction. Right, so let's see some examples. So we're going to skip this one and we're going to look at this one here. So we're doing 7 over 8 times 4 over 14. Let me move my head a little bit. So here, what most people would do if they just learned fractions at school is they would rush into doing 7 times 4 and 8 times 14. Okay, so multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators together. And that's exactly what I taught you earlier on, okay? But that was just the introduction, right? But in the GMAT, we want to save time as much as possible. On average, in a quant question, you have 2 minutes to answer, give or take, okay? Now, within that, you're going to have a certain amount of time that's needed for thinking about the problem, understanding it, thinking about how you're going to structure it, okay? You're going to also take some time to do some calculations, but if every calculation takes you a few minutes to do, well, you can see that quickly this is going to add up to a lot more than 2 minutes. So as a rule of thumb, what I say is that you want to avoid more than 30 seconds of calculation on a particular step in the GMAT, okay? And if it requires more than 30 seconds, then it means that there's another way. So either there is another method that you haven't seen, or there's a shortcut, a simplification that you're not spotting. So in this particular case, rather than multiplying the numerators together and the denominators together, we're going to look at how to split the various numbers, and in particular the 14, we can split that into 2 times 7. And that's handy because at the top we've got a 7 as well. So then we can cross those two out. There's no point multiplying by 7 and then dividing by 7. Might as well just cancel those two out. And that's going to simplify the problem. Now, we've still got an 8 in the denominator, and 8 happens to be 4 times 2. So again, we've got a 4 at the top. We can simplify that a little bit more and cross out these 4s. Okay, now at the top we've crossed everything out. So does that mean we've got 0 left? No. Well, we could write that 4 as 4 times 1. So when we cross out the 4, we're still left with the 1. At the bottom, we're left with, well, this 2 here, and we have another 2 coming from the 8. Unfortunately, at this stage, we kind of have to do the end multiplication. So 2 times 2 equals 4, and we're left with 1 over 4, or a quarter. So notice how we've, as much as possible, saved ourselves from doing multiplications there, but we've looked for simplifications. Let's see another example, a little bit more complicated. And in this case, you can see that if you had to do this in 30 seconds, it's starting to add up, right? Or in this particular case, to multiply up, right? We've got 3 different numbers. If we were to do 2 times 9 times 5, take us a bit of time. And if we were to do 3 times 10 times 6, again, it's going to take us a little bit of time. But there are ways of making our life a lot easier. So 10 is 2 times 5. Okay, 9 is 3 times 3. We can split these numbers like that, and also the 6 is 2 times 3. Okay, and now we can see we've got a lot of common factors here that we can cross out. So let's see what we're going to be left with. Well, we can cross out this 2 with this 2, this 3 with this 3, and this 5 with this 5. And actually here we haven't seen all different simplifications, but that's fine. We can just bring it down to the next line and then continue here. We've got an extra 3 and a 3 we can cross out. What are we left with? Well, 1 at the top and 2 at the bottom. And we've got to the result, which is a half. We've saved ourselves a lot of effort. We've just split numbers. We haven't had to multiply anything in the end. And we've managed to do this in a relatively short time, which is feasible within a 2 minutes question in the GMAT.